and ultimately what that looks like.
Ascension Stones, your crystal gemstone podcast. Coming up on this episode, Christolight and Yuuga lead and guide us through a journey of laying out the groundwork of grounding.
It's ungrounded. And how do we ground? Well, we ground out of our root chakra, as well as the soles of our feet. And the key is having the root chakra and the soles of our feet clear and open as energy centers.
I find that pyrite actually has gold in it, very small amounts of actual gold, so the fool's gold was kind of true. But it's just a great stone to work with to get that energy flowing and getting the mental flow. And the next one would be fluorite. So cubic fluorite comes in all the colors. Fluorite is the most colorful crystal in all of the crystal kingdom. But this one
activating and stimulating those meridians more with those stones. And then the properties that that stone carries would then be infused with that stimulation.
The first grounding, spiritual grounding crystals that showed me that you can still elevate while grounding. And that's one of the cool things with the spiritual grounding stones. Another one that comes to mind would be garnet. Garnet's red. I believe it's either garnet or ruby.
Telepathic communications like a satellite through my blue double terminated appetite, cleansing emotions and heart's devotion with the malachite, electrify, magnetize with the magnetite, off the chain, renew my brain, magnesite, energize the blood, protect the aura with the hematite, talk to angels with the phenakite and pedalite, petrified wood could take us to the highest heights, balance all chakras with the blue kyanite, explosive kind of light, we blew the dynamite, I annihilate beings like selenite, crown chakra, third eye sight with tanzanite, Minnesota pipestone, chief pastor pipe, at peace, we communicate easy with azurite, smoking THC crystals, get stoned on edibles, collecting all types of gemstones and minerals, green is all I need, aventurine jade and emerald, shungite water is a
Hello, grand day, and welcome everybody to our third episode of this brand new series, Ascension Stones. Ascension Stones is your at-home crystal gemstone podcast where myself, Marcus Christolight of Sacred Light Healing and Wellness, and our co-host Yuuga, the Draconic High Priest of Voice of the Dragons, we dive deep, explore, and unravel the knowledge, the information, and the wisdom behind all sorts of different crystal gemstones. And so far in this series, we kicked off with our first episode being an introduction into a little bit of our personal journeys and the things that we have gone through in our spiritual awakening, alongside our interactions with crystals throughout these time periods as well. Along with that, in our last episode, episode 2, we ended up exploring what grounding looks like, and we went in depth about the metaphysics and what it looks like holistically to be grounding our energy, as well as the benefits and how to identify side effects from blockages. And then with that, we complemented by going over different grounding crystals. And we went through various different types and different varieties of these crystal gemstones for grounding. And now that leads us to today, episode 3, on this wonderful Tuesday, where we are going to be exploring the most commonly known, the most adaptable, most usable crystal that we've had on Earth in its history, and that is the Quartz Kingdom. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and hand it on over to our co-host Yuuga over in Arizona, and I'm going to let him go ahead and take off and bring us into the Quartz introduction.
Okay, so quartz. A lot of people are very familiar with quartz. Quartz is the second most abundant mineral on the Earth's crust, so it's pretty out there and it's pretty everywhere. It's one of the most versatile crystals you will come across. It is considered the master crystal for a reason. It is a hexagonal structured crystal. You'll really easily recognize it, defined by its six-sided shape and size for the most part. It has a lot of different growths, a lot of different habits, and it's hard to keep track of all of it, honestly. There's so many different forms of quartz. But we'll start at the very beginning and start with the very basics and kind of work our way around that. And starting with crystal quartz or rock quartz, if you want to pull that picture up, Marcus, that I have, so I can reference that. Waiting. The crystal quartz, not the smoky quartz. There we go. Okay, so we have this gorgeous piece of quartz in my hand. It's from my collection, and quartz is silicon dioxide, so it's got some silicone and it's got some oxygen in its molecular structure, and on the atomic level, it operates in a very unique pattern. Because of its hexagonal structure, it holds a unique frequency, and the hexagon has a naturally strong structure, so it's highly resistant to heat and pressure. So quartz actually has a lot of technical uses in all different forms, whether it be in crystalline form or powdered form. Quartz sand is pretty common. We use it for things like glass and technology, and its uses are in thousands and thousands of things. A lot of things depend on quartz. Quartz was originally used for watches and radios and some early TV displays, and they just found that it's very durable. It has its own synchronized, I can't remember what the exact term is, but when it comes to the watches and the radio, there's something about it that makes it so it can be used in electrical components. It's so stable that it's aligned to those frequencies with electronic devices. So it's really cool. It has a lot of uses. There is one effect, I can't remember what it's called either, because it's just not in my field of research. But if you take two pieces of quartz and you rub them together, they will create light within the crystals from the friction. So that's cool. If you have some pieces at home that aren't of too expensive quality, then try that out and see what you can make happen. But quartz is highly programmable in a more of a spiritual sense, and also in the technological sense. They're making crystals that can hold memory on a 5D level, which is pretty insane. But back to the spiritual stuff. So quartz is highly programmable. To do so with the quartz crystal, a practitioner all they have to do is hold it in their hand like I am doing so. I like to hold it in my chest or hold it by my chest and just silence my mind, quiet, and really feel myself and attune myself to the crystal. Recently, I just had a solar ritual manifestation, a solar return manifestation ritual where I did a guided sun gazing event on my solar return, and I used it to manifest and put out the design for this ritual that I've been working on. And I just expanded my beliefs. I grounded myself with the sun's solar rays. I charged the crystal, and I also grounded the crystal with some obsidian. And then Marcus will pull up the next few pictures of the quartz, and we'll show the quartz family, and we'll dive deeper. So here's amethyst. This is one of my favorite amethysts in my collection. If you're really curious and want to know more about it, this piece of amethyst is from Zimbabwe, the Chibuku mine specifically. And what's really special about this piece is that it's double terminated, and it's a perfect double terminated. It almost has that unique diamond shape, but it's a little bit more elongated. And that's one thing you'll find with different regions and different locations, is that certain locations will produce certain consistencies within the growth habit of the quartz that is being extracted from that location. And so what's really unique about the Chibuku mine is normally you get sceptered quartz, which is great and gorgeous, and I love all of it. But to find a nice double terminated one like this is really, really hard. I've only seen a couple on the market, so I'm really, really proud of this one. If you want some really good amethyst, though, Thunder Bay amethyst is known for its auralite inclusions, where it's a very heavy, powerful, spiritually grounding piece of amethyst with a lot of other stuff inside of it. And amethyst, like I said, a lot of it just depends on location and what you're trying to get. If you're looking for more common quartz, or not quartz, if you're looking for more common amethyst, Brazil or Uruguay tends to have the most accessible. And then we'll switch over to smoky quartz. Okay, smoky quartz. This piece specifically comes from Orongo, Namibia. You don't see too many like that, so just be aware. And if you do see quartz like that, it's most likely irradiated. There we go, that's the word. Irradiated. Irradiated is when they take this type of radiation, they just throw it some type of not really great energy as far as the spiritual energy in the crystal, and they'll artificially make it darker. So be aware of that, because those crystals actually can cause detrimental effects on your energy field. So that's coming from people a lot smarter than me. I'm not just saying that just to say that. So just make sure you're getting quality or real, authentic smoky quartz when you are getting your own. Smoky quartz is great, as it's very useful for not just grounding, but transmuting spiritual energy. And how it does that is it holds in that fine-tuned vibration that we're familiar with the colored black, and it absorbs it all and just is able to angular it out throughout the quartz, and it just transmutes it into a more harmonious piece of energy for you to work with. And then we'll go to rose quartz. And Marcus, I feel like I'm just hogging up the stage, so if you want to talk about the rose quartz for a quick sec, I will let you take the mic.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. And thank you for all that information and knowledge on those crystals. So the rose quartz is really kind of like the OG of unconditional love, deep, passionate connection, feeling more of that feeling of security and tranquility and peace through that heart center, as well as the higher heart chakra for people that like to do chakra work. And another thing I really like about the rose quartz is that it draws so much unconditional love through your being that it can help with transmuting any darkness that is within your being, or any density and blockages, due to the potency of the unconditional love that comes into your field. And then along with that, you're not just releasing those energies, but you're getting in place of that, the unconditional love to take over that part of your aura or your energy field. Another thing with rose quartz is that you can connect with a lot of different ascended masters, such as Kuan Yin, Mary Magdalene, as well as Isis and other ascended masters, through using this crystal gemstone and the frequency that it carries. So also add in there too, it's very helpful for relationships. So if you're going through trauma from past relationships, or if you're having patterns where you're attracting toxic cycles in your relationships, and when we say relationships, this isn't just romantic. This is relationships as a whole in your life. So this could be family, friends, community, school, job, just relationships as a whole. But then most importantly, the relationship with your own self. And if you're needing some more self-love, self-nurturing, feelings of being connected more deeper to your spiritual self, this is where rose quartz comes in and is very beneficial for you. On the other side of things, I'll go ahead and hand it back to Yuuga and let him go deeper on that.
Okay, so rose quartz, what you won't find rose quartz crystallized like other types of quartz. It has, I believe it's called a conchoidal formation, where it doesn't have the same hexagonal structure. It does on an atomic level, but the way it grows, you're not going to find it like a single point. You will find little small pieces of crystallized rose quartz, but generally it's going to be like the piece that is shown right here, where it typically grows in veins. This piece comes from Montana and it's super gemmy, super lovely. But it's very easy to find good rose quartz. It's a very heavy heartstone, like he said. And going along with the quartz family, and then we'll expand from there, I do want to say the spiritual properties of amethyst are profound and known throughout history. Amethyst is known for its ability to help with sobriety. That's kind of how it's got its name, I believe, from the Greeks. And the key component in the amethyst is the inclusion of a certain iron molecule. So it's not going to be magnetic, but it does react with magnets. And it does carry a very intense spiritual energy, very good for the third eye and the crown. Quartz is good for all of the chakras, honestly. And then the smoky quartz is good for the lower chakras. And going from there, I will just say really quickly, I do have an amethyst parcel available, and it's a really nice high quality parcel of amethyst from select pieces of amethyst from around the world. So if you're interested, DM me. I'll show you pictures and videos of these great pieces of amethyst that I have in a great bundle. So with that being said, we're going to move away from the main quartz family, and we're going to talk a little bit more about just how abundant this mineral is. So a lot of people here in Arizona love peridot. Peridot is a silicate type of mineral, but if you want to say it's green quartz, it's basically green quartz, but it comes from the intensity of typically like lava fields. So there's a lot of peridot in here in Arizona and also in Hawaii. Can't remember right now where else it would be found. I know Pakistan really quickly. But a lot of crystals have the ingredient of quartz being as either primary or secondary component within their chemical structure or the elemental structure within the elements that are in its consistent growth habit. So like with peridot, it's got some other stuff in it, so it makes it green. And if you're looking for the other colors, that's what I love about quartz, honestly, really quickly, I want to say, is that it's so influential. It comes in so many different colors, not as colorful as fluorite, but a lot of the labradorite or the feldspar family minerals, they have quartz inside of them. So if you want to just think of a crystal being kind of clear and crystalline in that kind of sense, it's most likely going to have some type of quartz or some type of silicone inside of it. So moving alongside with that, we've got quartz with the peridot form. And then interestingly enough, olivine or space peridot is found in space or found in palisite meteorites. So quartz is one of the very few minerals that we can definitively say exist outside of the Earth. Now, other than the olivine that's found within palisites, we haven't been able to see how it would develop out in other type of environments and other type of planetary systems. So we can only imagine, but there's a lot of research, I'm sure, that is happening behind the scenes. But if you really want to work with some intense energy, get yourself a palisite meteorite. It's composed of iron, and then it has little speckles of the green peridot or olivine throughout its matrix. And it's just an intense, heavy transformational stone. A lot of my greater moments and my greatest development in my psychic abilities happened through the use of palisite. So be on the lookout for that. And if you're curious, my favorite location had happened to be the stem chain palisite. Have you worked with any meteorites or palisites, Marcus?
So, is it palestite?
Yeah. It's an iron meteorite with, like I said, the green little speckles of the olivine.
Wow, interesting. So I actually have not came across that yet. I came across different tektites, but not that.
Yeah, speaking of how we have peridot right here, moldavite, it's basically melted space glass that exists on Earth.
Oh, I
So
love
moldavite is
moldavite.
basically also green quartz if you want to consider it on the technical sense. Basically within the same family, but the only thing that makes moldavite so distinct was the fact that it was from a very specific location with a historic meteorite impact. And then we have right here in the center, we have its sister or cousin tektite, Libyan desert glass, golden.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I totally forgot. Citrine. We totally forgot about citrine. I feel so
There's a
bad.
little Libyan desert glass scarab.
Yeah, there is citrine and there is ametrine in the main quartz crystal group. I'm totally sorry, I forgot about that. A little spacey. The full moon is tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna
citrine.
say. Full moon is tomorrow. But yeah, citrine is a wonderful, abundant stone used historically in Chinese traditions for wealth, luck, and prosperity. I don't have any pictures available at the moment. I don't even
Super
have.
7.
What was that?
Super 7.
Super 7, yes. There is Super 7. It is amethyst with different inclusions. So there is that one. I prefer the Auralite because it's got a little bit more punch to it. But
Yeah.
yeah, Auralite's pretty cool and pretty fun.
And
What
there's
else?
this sulfur quartz that I just received. Sulfur quartz, for everybody out there, is good for washing and transmuting, cleansing and purifying. Because you have that sulfur energy, and then you're amplifying it with quartz. Because as we learned, quartz is an amplifier of anything that gets put into it intentionally. And it's something that's really what I love about quartz and so fascinated with is how you can literally channel, download, or place intentional energy into the quartz, no matter what it is, and it'll be a transparent receiver and amplifier for it. Pretty fascinating. Even when you go back to in the ancient times, you think about how they used, quartz in the pyramids and in other objects as well to help amplify and support the energy fields.
What I want to say really quickly is the most astounding use of quartz in ancient times that we know of today and has historically struck our captivated imaginations. The crystal skulls, the ancient crystal skulls.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna see if I
We
can
might have to
pull
do
it.
an entirely separate episode for that one. But I actually got to meet one of the ancient crystal skulls in a healing ceremony right before I started my work with structured water 7 years ago. 7 years ago. But yes, the ancient crystal skull I got to meet was the 5th one called Sammy. It's the Mitchell Hedges skull. It's the one with the detachable jaw. And there's so much about it that's so unique and defies a lot of science. It was cut against the grain of the crystal, so it wasn't polished, and it wasn't even polished. They don't know how it was made. The only thing they know is for it to be as well made as it was with the precision that it is anatomically with human skulls, is it had to be used or made with some type of zero gravity technology. And like I said, it was right before I had made my discovery with structured water. And I like to think it was a catalyst in my journey to get me in the right path and get the right mindset to start working with structured water. So that's been one of the coolest things I've ever got to witness and experience within my crystal journey, was working with the ancient crystal skulls. Do you have any experience with the crystal skulls? Not even the ancient ones, just crystal skulls in general.
So I actually haven't really worked with any directly. I know when I was attending the Serpent Mound Star Knowledge Summits out here in Ohio, I know when I was attending those and I was doing workshops and everything, they brought one of the very select few crystal skulls that you were just speaking on.
Mm-hmm.
And they would typically have it at those Star Knowledge events, and they'd be doing a presentation and everything. But I never interacted with it deeply or anything like that.
That's kind of a curveball for me. I thought you
Yep.
had some experience with it. I just want to say it's not entirely quartz related because there's crystal skulls in all types of different crystals, but
Mhm.
working with crystal skulls is it's so unique. The skulls tend to be much more. They have more personality behind them. They're easier to work with because they're in a familiar shape, the human head or the skull, and I mean, like, historically, it's said that the ancients were able to put ancient knowledge and wisdom within the skull, and it's said that with the return of the ancient crystal skulls, that new knowledge will be, or not new knowledge, old knowledge will be returned to the earth. So, what you can do with your practice with them is just astounding. How they interact with you, the relationship you kind of build with them. I like to have a special ceremony for activating my skulls because there is a certain method to activating it, but naming them is also a great treasure because they usually tell you the name they want if you don't place it upon them. And just crystal skulls are just a whole nother level within the crystal journey. So that's really
Mhm.
cool. So hopefully you can get something soon or have something gifted to you. But you really should get involved with crystal skulls.
Absolutely. I definitely feel that.
But
So,
interestingly enough, so we were kind of talking about the silicates. There are a few other silicate crystals like kunzite comes to mind, danbarite, where the silicone is just
oh
some
yeah,
secondary,
Danbury.
secondary component within its crystalline structure or elemental composition. But there are the cryptocrystalline members of the crystal family, and so things like jasper is made primarily with quartz, and then I believe nephrite jade has some type of silicone inside of it. It's totally eluding me right now, but like things like chalcedony, chrysoprase, agate, all of that is primarily made with quartz. So when you are working with those types of crystals, just keep in mind you're working a lot with a secondary member of the quartz family. So they're really easy to work with. They're easy to attune to you and your intentions and your energy. So if you're doing any type of healing practices, I would definitely recommend starting with those crystals for all-purpose types of healing. I will mention really quickly, there is the idea of this really special quartz that's polished up. It's called the Vogel crystal. Are you familiar with them, Marcus?
Yes, the Vogel point.
Yes, the Vogel crystals. They're so unique. They're so incredible. Unfortunately, they're thousands of dollars for just one piece if you want a genuine, authentic one. But the Vogel crystals were invented by Marcel Vogel, engineer at IBM, IBM, if that's what it's called. I can't remember. My brain's so foggy today. But the technology company that works with like cell phones and screens and all that type of stuff, he worked with liquid crystals displays, LCDs, and he ended up working and engineering his own piece of technology called the Vogel wand or Vogel quartz wand. And now it's cut at a very specific angle. It's made so it can utilize the most of the quartz's natural shape and the key components of how it transfers energy. I didn't know it was representative of the Giza pyramid. That's really cool. But the Vogel wands, they're probably one of the coolest things you'll ever come across if you can get a genuine one. They each have their own different cuts, but they are attuned to very specific angles and alignments and different sides. There is a maximum threshold for which side or how many sides will be effective in transmuting energy. But the big wide point at the bottom is ascending. I can't remember. I've never had one, so I can't say for certain. But one side is yin, one side is yang, as far as how it receives the energy. And you hold the bottom, or you hold the wider piece in the bottom of your hand, and you work with it by shooting energy through the tip or the small narrow point. And working with the imitation vocals is great. I can only imagine what the genuines feel like, but like I said, they cost thousands of dollars. And if you do find one that has the actual angles, then it's most likely made with synthetic quartz. And I've only seen a handful of sellers selling those ones, and they still cost a lot of money. But it's just crazy. There's so much with quartz that we can keep going on and on about. There is included quartz of so many varieties. I don't even know where to begin, other than I will mention very briefly a few of my favorite included varieties. There is Ajoite, or it's called Ajoite, Ajoite, and it's, I don't even know what it is, honestly. It's just this bright blue, neon blue mineral. I believe that is called the Ajoite, but it's gorgeous. It's super rare. It only grows in quartz, and that's just one of my favorites. And then another one that's very similar with the blue theme is Papagoite. Papagoite is a more indigo, deeper, richer blue. And then we also have Mortarite. Do Mortarite in quartz. We have Tourmaline in quartz, Rutile in quartz.
Oh,
everything and anything.
I got some good stuff for you. How about there's strawberry quartz.
Oh yes.
We also have
hematite.
Oh shoot, I just thought of it and I forgot. It's so funny. We have golden healer.
Mm-hmm.
Golden healer is a pretty good quartz to work with. Works with that gold ray energy. And then we have, oh man, I feel like this is just I feel like this is the build up. I feel like this is the build up to this.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming.
And this one really has to do with programming too.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're gonna have a lot to say about this one, but we have the good old ancient Lemurians. And I'll let you talk a little bit about the Lemurians if you would like.
Okay. So Lemurians, it's kind of a convoluted topic within the crystal community, even in the spiritual community. Some people say it's real, some people say it's just a misrepresentation. I absolutely love the idea of Lemurian crystals. Now, factually speaking, Lemuria doesn't exist where Brazil is, and that's where they were originally found, so they wouldn't technically be Lemurians, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the energy and the captivation of the Lemurian energy, the original finds. So there's a lot of misrepresentation with Lemurians. If it has a striated growth pattern, it's typically marked as Lemurian, but true, genuine Lemurians only come from like 3 different places in Brazil. I do not know them by name. I do know one of them is the Diamantina, and they don't even have really the striated lines. They have a very unique, specific singular structure, and that's the one I used on my solar ritual or solar return manifestation ritual. And the first original find has a lot of kind of interesting lore. There was a batch of quartz with all these striated growths that were growing out of sand pits somewhere in Brazil. All these crystals have been extracted and sold, no longer on the market, so finding that is pretty much impossible. But the idea of these special quartz coming from the sand, I'm not sure where it originated from. All I know is people were saying that some type of ancient civilization placed them, seeded the crystals into the ground, and would let them grow for when humanity would need them. Kind of like the same mentality with the ancient crystal skulls, except these are unadulterated and left in their natural formation. Interestingly enough, there is another crystal very similar to the Lemurians, which is called azestolite. Have you worked with azestolite?
I don't think so.
Okay, so again, there's some controversy with it. I love the idea of azestolite, but it's basically the same thing as the Lemurians. So azestolite crystals were, how how do I say this? They were pioneered by the man we all know and love, Robert Simmons. We're not talking about Kiss, we're talking about crystals. Robert
I was
Simmons.
like, whoa.
He is the author of the Book of Stones. The author of the Book of Stones, one of the best crystal, metaphysical crystal books you will be able to get on the market to date. I love those books. I love that guy. I love a lot of what he does. And so he had this experience to select crystals of quartz from select locations, and he channeled the information that it's basically the same thing as Lemurians. An ancient angelic race placed these crystals along the Earth's grid and set them with intention for them to grow. And what's special about azestolite is, don't take this wrong, the special thing about it is there's nothing special about it. If you believe there is something to it, there definitely will be a channel that is open, but there's nothing technically any different than azestolite than the Lemurian quartz or any other quartz. But the intention that these crystals have, it's not even just the belief, the intention from where they grow. If you can get the genuine locations or find the actual sellers of these stones, the transformation I've had with azestolite is profound. It's one of the most intense experiences I've had with crystals, honestly. Azestolite is a little bit more varied in its formation. It comes in so many different colors. It's not just the main quartz family. It's secondary growth with other different types of things. Like one of them that comes to mind is Rosophilia quartz. It's not even rose quartz. It's some type of heavily included quartz that comes out kind of pink, and it's just a very heavy heart stone. But azestolites, they're great. They're honestly great. I would say just be very mindful of the pricing. Don't overpay for something just because it's marketed as a powerful stone. Find something that really resonates with you and really go from there. But azestolite really does have some merit to it, especially if you're energy sensitive. They will elevate you to the next level. I've been blessed to work with a few pieces, but I haven't sourced any genuine azestolite in many years. What else? Do you have any experiences you want to share really quickly, Marcus?
Wow, that's really intriguing.
Yeah, azestolite's pretty cool. Well, there is one thing I just remembered. Now, I was doing a little bit of research about it this morning, but quartz and gold are found quite often in nature.
Travels.
According to most people, or just about everyone in the scientific field and community, there's nothing special about quartz growing with gold, other than the fact that it's just kind of a coincidence. But I feel like there is some type of metaphysical, esoteric representation of quartz and gold being grown together in nature. Now, from the prospector who I was watching, he was basically saying quartz just is so abundant and it's so dense and durable that it resists a lot of heat, a lot of pressure, and a lot of chemical treatments. So it's very durable, and that's most likely why it grows with gold, because it's kind of heavier on the elemental scale. It's not super heavy like gold. It's not dense. It's not metallic. It's kind of like glass, or if you really think about it, all glass is made with quartz. So that's the one interesting thing about the quartz crystal is you can break it a certain way and it will never break the same. Like they break so uniquely. I'm not saying to go break your crystals, but like think for reference obsidian. You find slags of obsidian, which is basically lava sand or black lava quartz sand. So obsidian is great. Obsidian is wonderful. You want to talk about obsidian, Marcus?
Obsidian. Ooh. Okay.
That's basically black quartz. It's not the same as smoky quartz, but black lava quartz.
Yeah, let me grab a piece too. So I really love obsidian because, oof, this brings in great topics. So obsidian, it doesn't look too fancy or anything. It just looks like some black lava, basically. And some very, very general, basic things about obsidian is that when it comes to the metaphysical properties, it's basically like an OG grounder. It's definitely one of the original go-tos when it comes to grounding, as well as stability, connection to the earth. And not just that, but it's also a really good protection stone as well. And this is something that is a very fascinating topic in itself too, is that not only does black obsidian protect your energy field, but it also acts as an interdimensional mirror. And you can use black obsidian mirrors in your practices to basically kind of do shadow work and also peer into different karmic timelines and things of that nature. Now, I'm sure there's more reasons and intentions why people use it as a mirror as well.
Yes.
But those are kind of more of the intentions of what I would use it for. But there's a lot of white magic, black magic, and a little bit of in between going on out there in the world. So it is good to know the different sides of things and how things can be used, just so you can have awareness for yourself. And then also with obsidian, it's really beneficial to use if you are struggling with root chakra energy. So this could be, holding on to pain from past experiences. This could be holding on to fear and having patterns of fear. Also, if our nervous system is out of whack and we are feeling that fight or flight tendencies going on as we get triggered and reactive, this is one of those stones that will help anchor in your nervous system, anchor in your energy and emotions, and help bring harmony into the stability of your connection to the earth. Yeah, I'll let you continue if you would like on obsidian.
Yeah. So with the scrying, or with the black obsidian mirrors, and the magic, like witchy community, they're typically used for scrying. I know there's some Solomonic practitioners that like to use it with the Goetia and using the lesser keys of Solomon to apparently like summon beings and get good representation of like actual image coming through. I've done a little bit of scrying before, and I've had some really interesting stuff happen. I don't want to say it's like watching a movie or watching, like looking at the TV, but if you look within a crystal, you can get lost and you will see some stuff. And then in terms of divination, there's the classic crystal ball with the tarot reader, the psychic medium, gaze into my crystal ball. I mean, that's not just Hollywood. There's some validity to some of that stuff. But crystal balls are they're great. They really are. I don't have any crystal balls like that. I have a giant obsidian sphere, but what was I gonna mention something about quartz. I was gonna grab a quartz, but I guess we'll just leave it with the crystal ball. I can't remember at the moment, but if you don't have anything else to add to that, there is one thing I wanted to close with the quartz, and then we can do what you wanted to do with the singing bowls.
So yeah, just a couple of like refreshers for people on some ways that you can use quartz consciously, throughout your healing journey, as well as in chakra work and other things of that nature. Is if you're making crystal grids, you can use quartz, any size, any shape, and you can place the quartz throughout your crystal grid in different areas, and it'll help amplify and expand that energy field. So even outside of crystal grids, you can just carry quartz on you if you're needing to amplify more of something in your life, or if you're needing to also clear out and continuously clear out things as well. Along with that, quartz is also something that you can place with your other crystals as well, and it'll help charge those and help amplify the other quartz, not just quartz, but other crystals as well. And I also want to add too with the citrine, since we didn't really go in depth with citrine. Citrine is one of those crystals that is super beneficial for the sacral and solar plexus energies that we work with. And what that is going to be energies surrounding your emotional stability, as well as your ability to ignite your passion, to be creative and have creative energy cultivating through you. I also have heard that and worked with citrine for connecting to more good fortune and abundance as well. And a lot of ancient Egyptian energy has been something that channels through citrine for me as well, especially when I pair it up with like turquoise, and can't think of the other one, but I know turquoise and citrine, when I pair those together, it brings a really deep and activating Egyptian energy. And yeah, I think that's really what I wanted to cover. I will say too, like, if you guys are making things like orgonite, just keep in mind that, you know, you can use different pieces of quartz throughout your orgonites and other pieces to help amplify with copper. And always remember the diversity of quartz, and all of the different ones that we went through, they all have different purposes, different primary intentions of being used. And you have different quartz really for each chakra, each aspect of life, and different aspects that you can focus on, whether it's grounding, releasing, accessing love, connecting to spiritual energies, physical healing. There's something out there for you, I definitely will tell you. And there's even more out there that we didn't think of throughout this episode that you guys can find through research. And one that I actually just thought about was angel aura quartz. Angel aura quartz is a super beautiful one that kind of has a little bit of rainbow reflections in it, that is just a very, very beautiful crystal to connect with. Definitely brings you into a higher vibration, helps you feel more connected to the spiritual realms, your angelic family, as well as what I feel like is like soul family on the other side as well. That's something that I've always felt through the angel aura quartz. Have you ever worked the angel aura?
Yes. The aura quartz, I would say the titanium aura is my favorite.
Oh yeah, titanium.
Yeah, that little darker blue kind of royal indigo look with the rainbows.
Yep. Yeah.
But
So
there was one more thing I wanted to talk about if you were ready to do the last thing.
absolutely.
Okay, I gotta grab a crystal real quick for demonstration, but let me grab it right here and I'll show you the thing.
Sounds good. And for everybody that's tuned in right now, I just want to let you guys know that you may want to stay put for a little bit, because after this, we're going to be closing out with a wonderful seven
So
chakra.
I mentioned earlier the
Pinnacle.
diamantina crystal, which is technically a Lemurian. I'm not gonna argue with it, but this one,
Wow.
this one's special for a lot of reasons, but that's not why I grabbed. I got it because it's a good reference point for how well structured and uniquely balanced the quartz can be. Now, what's really special about quartz, and I'm sure there's a lot of technical applications for this unique property. Now, I know in lighters they use it, which is the piezoelectric effect. So what that is a fancy term in science, where if you grab a piece of quartz, which some other crystals are, but if you grab a piece of quartz and you apply pressure on it, I'm squeezing really hard. You can't tell, but I really am. If you apply pressure on it, at a certain point, it will start generating a current of energy with that pressure. And apparently there's this one dude who was studying that was able to generate a current stronger than the amount of energy he was putting in. Then he got raided and all of his research got taken down and destroyed by some type of government. I don't know. This sounds very plausible if you understand a lot of crystal energy, but that's what I wanted to talk about really quickly, was the piezoelectricity and the fact that you really can use that to your key, or that key component to your advantage, with actual practical techniques. And there's no one way or better way to do your crystal workings. This is just a nice little tip and trick I've taught myself, and applying some science with the metaphysics, I've gotten a lot of results. So you want to get a crystal quartz point like so. If you have a different type of quartz, totally fine. You want to get it and you want to squeeze it to the point where can't see it too much, but I'm shaking. I'm flexing my hand and squeezing with all my intention and pressure, physical pressure, that I'm capable of producing. And doing that when you're working with the quartz, manifesting your heart's desire, putting your intention, physically can change the molecules of your crystal.
It's so powerful. I can feel it right now with my Lemurian.
A lot of people, in more modern times, and this is not out of the ordinary, I've done it plenty of times, but a lot of people can take a quartz crystal and they could put rainbows inside of it with the right amount of biophotons and energy coming from you. But yeah, that's, if you're more adept with energy work, try to get a nice piece of quartz and try to put inclusions like rainbows inside your quartz by using that technique with applying pressure, or just even your energy work. I've seen it both ways, but that little tip and that little trick can really change how you understand energy works with crystals. And we'll leave it there. You want to guide us, Marcus, with your singing bowls, quartz singing bowls?
That was excellent. So, as we transition into the final segment of this episode today, I just want to take a moment to give thanks to all of you guys that have been in this episode. And thank you to all of you that have subscribed, shared, and liked any of the content as well. And if you guys haven't yet, feel free to subscribe and give a like and share if you haven't. Help our algorithms build, help us get out there more as we share this knowledge for empowerment and self-awakening, so that we can all come together in our own authentic powers, knowing our tools, our holistic empowerment, and things that we can do in our everyday life with the abundance that we have from the Creator to be our best self, not just for ourselves, but for our loved ones and everybody else that we know in the world. So yeah, thank you to all of you that tap in, share the content. And I also have a whole entire broadcast network of content streaming. And we have live streaming daily. It's myself, Yuuga, others around the world like Sandy Marshall in California, Heather Thomas here in Ohio. And we have others as well around the world that are broadcasting this knowledge and empowerment for each other. And I just wanted to pull up a little graphic for you guys so you guys can see a little refresher of a few varieties of quartz out there. And we touched on some of these. Now, tiger's eye is a quartz?
Yeah, I totally forgot to mention that. It's something I learned recently. But tiger's eye is apparently yellow quartz with asbestos and some other stuff.
Wow. Hold on, we gotta talk about tiger's eye a little bit.
But really quickly, if you like to make the structured water or like crystal water, quartz, like one of the main quartz families, is totally water safe. Just make sure you clean the stone physically. Don't put dirt and pollutants in your water if you're going to drink it. But you can use quartz for water purification, not purification, but energy transmutation, water alchemy stuff.
Yep. Yep. That's why you'll actually, a lot of you guys will see them out there. People will buy those bottles, the water bottles that have either quartz, rose quartz, or boom, 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 amethyst in the bottle. I was trying to pull up a little bit of a variety of the tiger's eye. There we go. Just give you guys a little bit of perspective of the types of tiger's eye. There's actually more out there as well, but these are just a few of the more common ones that you can find, and some of the benefits that these different colored tiger's eye bring for us. And number one, you have gold tiger's eye. That's one of my favorites. I definitely do have a piece. I actually have a piece of all of these. But gold helps with releasing fear and anxiety, increase power, confidence, acquire wealth, make better decisions based on wisdom. And we have red tiger's eye. So this can be more earthy, more down to the root chakra energy. This empowers and balances the lower chakras, enhances confidence, self-esteem, sexual energy, stimulates and motivates. And I'm going to add in there too that sexual energy doesn't just mean, adultery or sex and things of that nature. Your sexual energy is your kundalini. Whoa, little throat chakra clearing. Your sexual energy is also your kundalini energy. It's your creative energy. It's your passion, your vitality. So that is also all being ignited through this red tiger's eye. And then lastly, and I'm going to show you guys a beautiful tower that I have here in just a moment. And this is blue tiger's eye. Blue tiger's eye, that's going to work more with your throat chakra area. And I'll probably even say a little bit of your third eye as well. But since it does have tiger's eye family energy in it, it is going to automatically still give you that tiger's eye energy of, leadership, confidence, and self-stability. But it reduces stress and anxiety, enhances leadership abilities, releases fear, limited beliefs, and phobias. It's also known as hawk's eye. And I'll also add in there too that it helps clear your throat chakra because it gives you that innate confidence and enhances your leadership ability to release fears as well, which helps your throat center because that builds you up and helps you feel more naturally confident to express your truth, to voice knowledge, to speak up your vulnerability, and to express and co-create out into the world. And that's what the throat chakra does for you. So that's a little bit about some of the tiger's eyes, and you can find more out there as well. Yuuga, is there anything that you would like to add about tiger's eye?
Yes, just a little quick disclaimer. Red tiger's eye is actually baked golden tiger's eye. There's no natural red tiger's eye. I was very disappointed to find that out. But the gold and blue are natural, but I have been seeing dyed blue tiger's eye. I don't know why they dye it, just making it like a neon blue. But yeah, so there's tiger's eye, and then a less common known combination crystal is called lion skin, which is tiger's eye with pieces of quartz grown inside of it. Lion skin's really cool. If I remember correctly, petersite is a special form of tiger's eye. Oh, and interestingly enough, I don't know why people keep saying hematite or hematite is in tiger's eye. I swear to God, it's straight iron. You can get a magnet, take it next to your piece of tiger's eye, and if it sticks, you got a genuine piece of iron in your tiger's eye. And if it has a lot of banding of iron and reds and yellows, then that's actually tiger's iron, which is a very cool grounding stone to work with.
Oh yeah, tiger's iron.
Tiger's iron, yeah.
I used to have a piece of that.
I would love a little mini pyramid of tiger's iron. I used to think I had one a long time ago.
It's a gold tiger's eye for people out there. It's one of my first crystals. I've had this for a long while too.
It's one of the first ones I got. Oh, I'll share that really quickly, and then you can do the crystal meditation.
Yeah.
So in the middle, at the very start of winter, back in 2014, I was in Utah, moving to Ohio, ironically. And in between the drive, I was moving with my friend's family. We were traveling in 2 different cars. I was in the U-Haul, and then there was the mom and a few other family members in the other car. And we had a quick little pit stop. I had my first piece of raw tiger's eye. And tiger's eye is a very aggressive protection stone. It's one of the most aggressive protection stones. It has a lot of uses historically for being used for protection against psychic attacks and bad energy. And something instinctively told me, tell them to take this into the car and use it for protection. And I just handed it to them. They place it in the car with them. And like not even 15 minutes later, we're back on the highway. It's snowing. There's not like a blizzard, but there's ice everywhere. They do a full 360 going like 70 miles an hour on the highway. And I can't imagine what the result would have been had the tiger's eye not been in there. But they didn't get harmed. Everyone was fine. The car was fine. But I'll never forget that. That was really scary.
Wow. Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Crystals are our best friend, I'm telling you. And if you guys aren't familiar with, what crystals are in depth and like the science, the metaphysics behind them, you guys can check out our first episode back in the series on the Sacred Light Broadcast Network, which you can see on the screen here. Sacred Light Broadcast Network on YouTube. And then you just go to podcast or playlist, and then you'll find Ascension stones on there. And then you can just go to episode 1. It'll be in order for you. So episode 1, episode 2, and then this live episode 3 today. And then also last little visual for you guys. This is a piece of Super 7.
Oh, wow. That one's nice.
It actually used to be a little bit bigger because it kind of curved out there.
Was it polished or is that natural?
It broke off, yeah.
Okay. I actually have a Super 7 ring right here.
Yeah. Nice. I love Super 7.
Hard to get a good view of it, but yeah, right there.
All right. Well, so for everybody, we kind of have a little surprise for you guys. I'm going to pull out the 7 chakra set of the Quartz singing bowls. And out of honor and out of the love of the Quartz family, I'm going to play us a sound bath. And I'm going to play a little bit of each of the 7 chakras so we can do a little brief chakra clearing for our full 7 chakras. And this will be a great experience for those that have not ever experienced singing bowls before. And those of you that have experienced singing bowls, you kind of have an idea of what kind of benefits and reasoning of why this could be beneficial for you. So for everybody that is not familiar, real quick, I'll just give you a little brief run through. Singing bowls basically act as a medium for creating certain frequencies. And the certain frequencies that are attuned with these crystal bowls, they are given off. They spread, they create waves when they're being played. And these frequencies that are given off then come into your vibratory field. As it interacts with your vibratory field, it starts to alchemize and shift what is your current energy field. And then as it interacts, it begins to change and shift your form as time goes on, and the more that the frequencies interact with you. Now, as this happens, this is a holistic process. So this is rebalancing you back to your natural homeostasis, basically, where your body is in attunement with itself and it's in harmony with its own inner synchronization. So when this happens, we may have layers of ourself come up. We may have stored traumas, we have stored emotions, or other blockages within our system that could begin to come out to the surface and then begin to release or come out of the body through this sound healing. Very powerful stuff when it's intentionally used, and it can remove traumas, emotions. It can remove stuck pain or stored pains, as well as bring balance to the nervous system and recalibrate and rewire. So with that being said, go ahead and take a few minutes. You guys can use the restroom, grab some water and hydrate, grab some quartz crystals or anything that you feel, and get yourself ready and prepared and just comfortable. For this, you can sit, lay down. If you have to stand, you can stand, of course, but just allow yourself to be open and just to receive the frequencies and the vibrations as we play. And with that being said, we'll see you guys in a few moments and we'll get it started. And feel free to give this a share and share it to anybody in your community or any loved ones that you feel like could really benefit from this sound bath.
Attention veterans, your next mission: healing and community in beautiful Loveland, Ohio. Imagine a place where nature's serenity meets powerful ancient healing practices. Welcome to the first ever Holistic Healing for Veterans Retreat, happening July 12th and 13th in Loveland, Ohio. This is not just any retreat. Hosted by Marcus Christolight of Sacred Light and co-hosted by former Marine Sergeant AJ Lardy, this 2-day outdoor camping experience is designed just for you. Alongside fellow Sacred Community members Heather Lynn of Heart Alchemy Wellness, Lauren aka Peach, Katie Singing Eagle and Niara, you'll dive deep into holistic shamanic level flow shops. Picture this: sound healing that calms your mind, shadow work that uncovers your true self, and subconscious reprogramming to help you rewire the brain from PTSD and trauma. All set in a beautiful, secluded, natural setting with a magical riverside. And it doesn't stop there. We'll provide clean, vibrant meals for all diets, ensuring you nourish your body as well as your spirit. Let's grow together as a community, bringing empowering healing to ourselves and our loved ones. Tickets are incredibly affordable. Just $33 for 1 day or $77 for the full 2 days. But remember, you must register first. Scan the QR code on the flyer or visit the site next to the code. Got questions? DM Marcus Christolight directly at 513-238-5580. This is your chance to find peace, connect with fellow veterans, and embark on a journey of profound healing. One love.
So yeah, that's coming up in July for you guys, just so you know. The Veterans Retreat, it's gonna be the first one ever. I'm gonna go ahead and play one more nice little video for you guys as I set up, and then we'll begin started with our 7 chakra quartz singing bowl sound bath live for free as we close out today on this episode. And yeah, it's gonna be a beautiful treat for you guys to close out with. And I'm just gonna go ahead and finish setting up. Yuuga, if there's anything else that you want to share, just kind of close out the quartz knowledge with, feel free. And I'm gonna go ahead and finish setting up.
All right, quartz. Like we said, it's a master healer. Great for use of pretty much any and everything that you need for your spiritual practices. Quartz is always going to be there. It's literally everywhere. So just keep in mind that whenever you want to connect with the earth, connect with yourself, just look around, try to find a nice piece of rock, most likely has some quartz in it, and just harmonize with it. Harmonize. Remember, it's abundant. It's everywhere. Literally, it's everywhere. hard not to get away from quartz, but if anything, it's probably in your phone too. You're watching this off of quartz technology.
Don't they also say that quartz is like the vibration between like solid and liquid?
I've heard about that. I'm not sure how true it is.
Yeah, as I say, that'd be pretty fascinating.
I could say this really quickly. So with my work with the structured water, I'll just grab this one right quickly, and you can see how it has like all these cool things going on the inside. My structured water does a lot of stuff that I see in the quartz. Like it gets these cool rainbows. It creates reflective mirrors within the ice, and a lot of people. Sorry, I keep hiccuping. A lot of people say it looks a lot like quartz. So there's something interesting between how quartz is formed and how ice or structured water freezes. There's a unique relationship, and honestly, that is one thing that comes to mind. Quartz, like I said earlier at the beginning, has a hexagonal formation. Water, when it freezes, also forms in a hexagon. So maybe there's something to the hexagon creating the space in the environment for these phenomena to happen naturally.
Yeah, that's what I was really thinking, you know, like when you look at it, it looks like frozen water almost. And then not just that, but you think about how water is extremely programmable and basically amplifies anything, or, you know, it collaborates with anything, so to say.
Yeah.
And that's what quartz does as well. All right. Here we go. Put a little sound bath for you guys. Again, feel free to share and send this to anybody that you feel could benefit. And we're just going to do a little sound test real quick too, just to make sure it's not too off for you guys. Okay, there we go.
Dang, you got the full-sized ones.
Yeah, the full set. All right, we're gonna do a little sound test. Yuuga, just let me know how it sounds. Is that good?
Sounds really good. Sounds clean.
It's not like too loud to where it like drowns it too much.
No, it picks it up at a very comfortable level.
Cool.
It doesn't get muffled or over loud.
Sounds good. All right then. Well, that being said, everybody, feel free to get yourself comfortable, and you can grab any quartz crystals that we talked about today if you want. And you can either place them on your chakras, you can hold them in your hands, you could place them below your root, place them on your crown, anywhere around you in a grid, whatever you feel comfortable with. And I'm going to go ahead and play for a few minutes, a little bit of each of the 7 chakras for you guys, so you guys can feel each of the vibrations. And then I also invite you guys to sit with yourself and feel any intention. If there's any intentions that you would like to bring into this space, it could be a intention of releasing, healing, clearing, grounding, activating, manifesting, or anything else that you feel. So, with that being said, get cozy. You can sit, you can lay down, relax your shoulders and your back, have your back straight if you're sitting. And then just make sure you're relaxing those shoulders, relaxing those toes, and relaxing that jaw, making sure you're not clenching your teeth. And then just bring focus to that breath, deeply and consciously breathing through your body. As you continue to breathe, you may close your eyes if you would like and begin to focus inward as we now explore with the sound. All right. Bringing focus to our breath, feeling and just being present in these frequencies and this reattunement of our vibratory and biofield. Just allow yourself to process, be present, and feel what you feel, see what you see, and sense as you sense. And just patiently at your own pace, make your way back to your physical body. And you may open your eyes and return, move your body and stretch. And thank you guys for being a part of this sound bath and tuning into this crystal gemstone podcast episode, Ascension Stones, episode 3, as we explored quartz crystals and the wonderful quartz family. And this was a sound bath with quartz crystal singing bowls attuned to all 7 chakras. And I am Marcus Christolight of Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. You guys can actually book sessions with me one-on-one. I also host retreats in Ohio and around the country. I have a Sedona retreat coming up in August for Lionsgate. I also have a veterans retreat in July as well. That will be in Ohio. This is for military veterans, active and non-active. And then I have a Hawking Hills retreat at the end of this month, June 28th and 29th. Then I have some more as well. Mount Shasta in November for 11/11. September I have a drum medicine retreat in Hawking Hills. And then October I have a retreat, and it's a Peruvian shamanic healing retreat with a traditional Peruvian shaman here in Ohio. You guys can reach out to me anytime. I will gladly navigate you to my services. I also do Akashic record readings, guided meditations, Reiki. I help with trauma healing, subconscious reprogramming, and life coaching as well. So with that being said, I will go ahead and hand it back over to our co-host, Yuuga, and I'll let him kind of close out and share a little bit about himself and where you guys can connect with him.
So if you want to keep following me on my crystal journey or my spiritual journey in general, there's a banner right here, but linktr.ee/hytherion or Voice of the Dragons on all platforms. I do custom crystal creations for gemstone bracelets and necklaces, and got my own line of golden radionics jewelery for if you need some help with physical ailments or healing. And I've got my research with structured water. So that and then the dragon stuff. So if you like dragons, I'm the guy.
Yeah. You guys can follow him on his own YouTube channel as well. voice of the dragons, and he talks about his structured water, shungite water, and he's also talking about his crystals and a lot of other cool things on there as well. And with that being said, thank you guys all for a wonderful episode. Feel free to comment, give feedback. If you guys think of any type of quartz crystals at all that we didn't name in this episode, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'd love to see what kind of quartz crystals you guys connect with and you think of due to this episode. And if you guys have any ideas about future episodes regarding what topics or what kind of crystal knowledge you would like to run through, feel free to comment or reach out. And of course, if you guys want any one-on-one services or you'd like to purchase bracelets and other wonderful technologies, just reach out. But with that being said, everybody have a blessed and beautiful Tuesday or any day that you're watching this replay. And we appreciate you guys. All right. Wholeness and balance, love, brother. Have a good one.
Peace.
And for the outro, guys, tune in. You're going to see some highlights of Ascending Beyond Limitations podcast that is also on the Sacred Light Broadcast Network. That will be live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, myself and Sandy Marshall out of California. This is about the raw material law of one.
You see the ropes, eyes ain't open, don't mean I ain't woke. Ain't got no cash, don't mean that I'm broke.
And you're merging, you're becoming, you're shifting and evolving. Like we've said since episode 1, wash, rinse, repeat. A multi-dimensional being, and there's many facets to you. The spirituality of us has never been taught to us in the way that it's opening up now. And it's not going to be the exact same way for each of us. I am not going to be exactly like Marcus. Marcus is not.
Shamanic Egyptian astrology. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I pulled this out today is because we are in the midst of the closing out of the Gemini new moon. Codes forgotten. It is time, however, for our collective memory to be awakened and for us, once again, to open to the messages transmitted from the skies. Ashe, and back to you.
Transmitted from the skies. We are a receiver and a transmitter.